All right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure, an absolute honor to have in our midst Dr. David Akanbi, who's an adjunct professor at the University of District of Columbia in University of the District of Columbia in the United States, in Washington, D.C., where he teaches discovery technology, emerging technologies, and multimedia technology. He also serves as a senior e-learning specialist supporting the human resource branch Office of the Executive Director at the Community Future Trading Commission in Washington, D.C. Additionally, Dr. Akanbi is a member of the Board of Directors of the Fixed Africa Development Foundation in Abuja, Nigeria. He is the president of the Cardinal University Foundation, USA, a nonprofit organization that partners with university worldwide to implement e-learning programs and initiatives designed to meet the 21st century demands of effective distance learning. So it is, of course, very timely, looking at how we can integrate technology to solve global challenges through e-learning. So Dr. Akanbi, welcome, and the floor is yours. Thank you.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me. Please, can you hear me clearly?
Absolutely, perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. So today I would like to appreciate the convener of the program for inviting me. So if it's okay, I would like to know how you get to know about me and the work that we do. If that's okay, or we can take that offline. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. And the previous speakers, I really do appreciate what they discussed. They talked from the academic standpoint. However, I'm going to be talking from the practitioner standpoint. So, interestingly, I wear two hats. I work in the academia, and at the same time, I have the opportunity to solve real life problems. So, I'll be speaking from real life problems. How do we actually go from problems to solution? There is often this disconnect between the academia and the industry. So my work centers around how do we bridge the difference between what is conceived and what can be put into practice. So I'm a professor of practice, so that is my area of specialization. So, and how does it fit into STEAM? It fits into STEAM because whatever you want to do, you have to design and you have to implement. And a lot of speakers have talked about that, Professor Dr. Adeyemi, and everybody has talked about the philosophy, the STEAM, the arts, and everything. So thank you very much. So I'll be talking on the title, Emerging Technologies, Solving Future Problems Today. Now, I'm going to start from the definition of a problem. What is a problem? And that's something we want to solve future problems. We need to understand what a problem is. In a simple term, a problem is any challenges, any confrontation that we have that requires attention, that requires being the hurdles being crossed. That is a problem. It could come in diverse shape, it could come in diverse ways, and at the same time, it impacts a lot of people. And a lot of times we all face these problems in our lives individually or as a society or even as a micro community. So when problems like this happen, I'll give you an example. I'll tell you a short story that happened to me. Let's say about 18 years ago. This is actually in Nigeria. I was traveling from one city to another in Osun State, from Oyo State to Osun State in Nigeria. Then all of a sudden it started raining. When it started raining, and I was driving, and I discovered that the wiper of my car was no longer functional, and the rain was so heavy. in the midst of trying to navigate my way, I found myself in a very big ditch, in a very big ditch along the road. So my car somersaulted and I was inside the ditch. The community people needed to come out to take me out of that ditch that day. That was a very big problem. And the problem started simply because the wiper was not working. Now, let us go back to ancient days when there was no wiper. How did they survive? So that brought me to the idea of somebody seeing the problem before the problem becomes a problem and try to provide solutions. If an immediate problem where my wiper was not working resulted in me having to encountering that kind of situation that nearly took my life. Imagine what will have happened in the entire world today if there is no wiper on our vehicles. So when there is a problem, some people will see the problem before they become an emergence. And when this problem becomes an emergence, and they think about it, and they think about solving the problem before it becomes a big problem. Now, I'll tell you a story. Not it's a, this is a very popular thing we all know. Now that this happened in New York a couple about 100 years ago, where a young lady named Mary Anderson, she went to New York from Alabama. Then at that time, vehicle had no wipers, and she saw that a lot of drivers that will, and it was snowing. A lot of drivers will park. When they park, then they will go outside the window to clean the windshield, and they will come inside. Then it started becoming very foggy, and the driver will roll down the glasses before they'll be able to see the road effectively. And this person, who was a passenger in one of the carriage, Mary Henderson, she saw the problem. And to her, she was like, okay, how do we have to do this every time? And a lot of drivers, they will stop, they will clean the windscreen. It's so many of them. And because they needed to roll down their glasses, then the frigid cold started entering the car. Everybody was wet, everybody was shivering. And this person, Mary Henderson, instead of looking away, instead of just accepting this as just one of those, she started thinking, how can we solve the problem? And solving the problem now came back to what we have today as windshield. She's uh, sketched the windshield or the wiper, I would call the wiper. She sketched it and decided to think of how to implement it. How did it work? When she saw the problem, she didn't look away. And this woman has envisaged somebody like me who will be driving someday and will encounter heavy rain. And she didn't want me to encounter that problem in the future. Unfortunately for me, my wiper was not working perfectly. I still encountered a problem. But imagine if that had to be what everybody faces every day. Our life is going to be in chaos. So, in essence, solving a problem requires somebody thinking of the current situation and imagining how to prefer a solution to that challenges before other people will experience it or even when other people have experienced it. Now, somebody saw a problem, he noticed the problem, but didn't look away. Others ignored, complained, or exploited it. Innovators developed systems to address the problem. That's what she did. Instead of just thinking, oh, today is just another day, or today is another issue, or the government is this, the government is that, which is fine, but somebody still needs to come about the solution to this problem. And how can you do that? She came out with an innovative technology. When people hear technology, people think technology is just AI. For me, technological solution or system-based solution is anything we all can think of that can help us solve any particular problem. I'm going to give you an example, but before giving you the example, innovative technology is just a system that comes from the combination of various components in an effective, repeatable, and scalable process. Now, for us to solve any problem, we have to think of a particular combination of systems. For example, this wiper is a combination of some rubbers, some motors, and some steel combined together to form a repeatable and effective way that somebody does not need to get down from the car before they can run it. A repeatable way, it can go by itself, it can work by itself by just a simple, system, and adaptable. It can be used across multiple vehicles, and at the same time, it's scalable. It can be produced en masse to solve societal problem. That is my own definition of technology or solutions that we need in the society. Let me try to bring all of this together. Now, this is a very simple solution, and I want you to, if you can see this video, please just put a thumbs up or something in the chat so that I know that you can see the video. And looking at this video critically, when we are thinking about solutions, oftentimes we look at solution or we look at technology through the lens of something that is very big. We don't look at solution through the lens of something that we can do. We always look at technology solutions through the lens of somebody is going to bring the next Google, somebody is going to build the next Microsoft, the next Facebook, the next this, the next that. Why all those grandiose thinking is very good. In most cases, what we need are simple solutions that can be worked upon, that can be developed, that can be iterated, that can be scaled. So just like how Mary Anderson, when she saw the problem, she started from the simplest version of that thing into the macro version of that thing. Just like this individual in this video is a very simple solution. We need to sort, hundreds of thousands of seed. How can we sort them? This system is a sorting system. It's a categorization system. And at the same time, this simple system is a labeling system that enables us to know, to label, to sort, to identify, and at the same time to categorize this data. Now, this is an example of solution-centric idea that we need in our society. Just looking at the problem, we can write about the problem, yes. We can discuss the problem, yes. We can present the ideas of the problem. However, we need to go beyond that into simple implementation of such a problem from the micro to the macro. Now, let me jump forward. So when problem comes, it presents opportunities. When any problem we face in society, they do what? They present opportunities. However, achievers will see opportunities in chaos, whereas other people will just see the chaos. They will just see inefficiency. They will just see something that is not working. They will just see this, they will just see that. Whereas achievers will see what? They will see opportunity in chaos. What can we build? How can we build this? So based on this, I'm not just going to come here and talk about the problems. I'm not just going to come here and talk about Mary Henderson. I'm going to give us a very simple framework and I give us a case study of how this has been implemented to solve real life problems. Now, this is how this is the framework. It's a very simple problem to solution framework. You can Google this, is online. And again, I'm coming from the practitioner standpoint because everybody has presented from the academia, as in from the academic standpoint. So the first thing is that you define the problem. You define what the problem is. How can we solve this? What is this problem? Then you structure the problem into manageable chunks. Which one can we solve first? Which one comes first and which one comes next? Then you prioritize the issues. Which issue do we need to focus on first to achieve small wins, and then we can move to the other issues. Then you develop issue analysis. Okay, if you solve these issues, can it result into another issue? Then we focus on that. Then we conduct analysis. Then we synthesize our findings. Like, okay, if we do this, this is what will happen. Then we develop recommendation. It sounds simple, and it sounds very simple, but it's not that easy, but it's achievable. So now let me give us a real life example of a particular problem that myself, my team, and I've been working on, I think for about 10 years now. So I was doing a program at Harvard Kennedy School. For those, I'm not advertising Harvard, but for those who are interested, it is called a public leadership and credentials at Harvard Kennedy School. So during the program, I conducted a survey in Nigeria. Obviously, I'm from Nigeria, to look at a particular problem in the society. And the problem I was looking at is the higher education in Nigeria. Based on the problem, we discovered that any degrees no longer guarantees employment in Nigeria. And we also discovered that current graduates face a higher level of unemployment. 55% of university graduates have considered learning a trade because their degree could not even fetch them anything. 43% of graduates are in professions different from their educational qualifications and they are dissatisfied. Now, employers also are dissatisfied with the career readiness of most graduates. We aggregated this data and we discovered that 95% of students and 85% of employers believe that Nigerian higher education sectors does not meet the challenges of the 21st century. If you will agree with me, now you will discover that this is a very big problem, as in because it affects everybody in the country. Every year, there's about 1.5 million students that will not gain admission into university system in Nigeria, regardless of the situation, because of so many factors. And this problem has been there even perhaps before I was born. So we started looking at this problem. Okay, how can we solve this problem? Remember the framework I give to you. This framework right here, you have to define, you have to structure, you have to prioritize, develop, conduct analysis, synthesize your finding, develop recommendation. So based on this, I continued into defining and designing the problem. So I conducted a research. This was in a partnership with NOLA Illinois University as part of my second PhD a couple of years ago. So in this time, then I survey stakeholders in Nigeria. By stakeholders, I mean universities, vice chancellors, and the regulatory agency that moderates and regulates university education in Nigeria, National University Committee. They are key stakeholders. They are directors to see. Okay, we've identified there is a problem. We identified the potential solution that's online learning. Somebody said the page cannot be found. Is it my slide or what? So that I know what to adjust. So we identify that there is potential solution through the use of emerging technology and advanced technology, and then through bringing our courses more, program more into an online level, and to make sure that, they are more iterative, they are more hands-on, they are more engaging, and they meet the 21st century. However, there's a resistance. So we wanted to understand the resistance. So we conducted a survey that, okay, what is the stakeholders' perception on the adoption of online learning in Nigeria? We found 3 factors that prevent the adoption in Nigeria. The first one is environmental factors, regulatory factors, and the technological factors. I'll share more about these findings if you are interested, or you can just Google my name online, then you will find some of this research online. Now, we discovered that there's a lot of issues with relying extensively on technology to solve this problem in the country. A lot of people, they want university within the confines of the university setting because it's prestigious. They want to prevent university value. They are worried about the quality concern. They are worried about institutional autonomies, faculties' road. Lecturers don't want to lose their power, so they still want the traditional approach to university system. And there are a lot of issues, cybersecurity, infrastructure, authoring. I'm not going to bore you with the details. So in addition to do this, we categorize all of these issues in our analysis into, okay, how do we define progress? How do we move from problem to solution? Instead of just talking about the problem is here, the problem is there, it's been there for a while. So we charted a path. We categorize this into 2. We divide that people into 2. There are skeptics and there are people who are actually very good with skepticism, and their mindset is very simple. Is skepticism, no optimism, and could be described as being, cynical. They don't want to hear anything about advanced technology. They just believe that those young guys, this, that, if you bring advanced technology, it's going to change everything. We will not have our power, or people are going to cheat. They are going to do this. They're going to do that. Then we have a lot of people who thought like, no, we need to change the system. We need to bring technology. We need to disrupt. We need to change our curriculum entirely. Then we think about it. How can we solve this problem in such a way that everybody will be happy? Because of that, we understand some people are in the middle who believes that this problem can be solved. We can merge advanced technology, we can merge it with hybrid approach to make sure that everybody can be on the same page. And the result of that solution or intervention is where we bet the American Open University in Nigeria, which was approved by National University Commission on August 13 this year, to provide a technology-based university that will take into consideration all of this issue that we find in the problem. So we are able to move from understanding the problems into coming up with exact something that can address the problem. How will the school solve the problem? Is very simple. We are developing a future-ready higher education that focuses on skill, not just degree. We are focusing on not just any degree, but any respect. We are focusing on degree that partners directly with the industry. We are focusing on the degrees that will make sure that students will have the value for their time. It is not just about time, it's about focusing on what matters in the society and making sure that our higher education meets 21st century. So here's my challenge to you. If you encounter a problem around you today, you have to focus on who are the people that will face this problem in the future and think on building the solution following a specific framework and and turn the problem into opportunities that will solve the problem. It's good to complain, but complaint will not solve anything. So this is the head of my presentation. I'm open to questions and I'm challenging you. And in the future, we'll be partnering with the Grain Institute to see how to collaborate. This is a very great conference and how to partnering with this Green Institute to make sure that the next conference we are actively involved and we contribute towards the continuity of this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation, very insightful. I was going to ask about the American Open University, but I think you already answered the question, kind of like what is it about? Because I think in the beginning of your presentation, I saw that and I was quite interested in that. Now, the question I have for you, and that's if you haven't actually answered that already, just for a little bit of clarity for our audience, is that which emerging tech is deployment ready in low middle income countries contests this year, not 5 years from now? And what are the prerequisites that must be put in place? Because a lot of people want to do online education in Nigeria, but the problem, I mean, in developing countries like Nigeria, but the problem is always the internet connectivity, the access to it. We've tried it at the Green Institute, where we've tried to do like online courses for locals around here. And the problem have always been the same. The access to the internet, the connectivity is not, readily available, especially in some society, in like rural communities, for instance. So how do we ensure that, while deploying a open university or an online university, how do we ensure that it is inclusive, that local communities will be able to participate as with somebody that is, say, for instance, in Lagos or in Abuja?
Thank you very much for that questions. This questions sounds like the question I answered about 6 years ago. When we first started this idea, it was pre-pandemic. And when pandemic came, so I had this presentation with the former minister. So I don't want to mention the portfolio so that I don't blow my cover. So I remember sitting in front of that person is in Abuja, like we have this platform, we are building this, we are doing that. And he asked me a question. He said, how will this work in Adamawa? That was a simple question. He asked me that you guys are talking like the Lagos, like Abuja, and South Africa, Johannesburg, and the rest. So how will it work in Adamawa? Then I couldn't answer the question, unfortunately. And that was the end of that phase, at that time when we were trying to solve this problem. So that brought me back into a deep reflection that how can we develop a system that works across board? It's a very simple, but not so simple. Now we have to find a way to develop a low bandwidth solution. It is not everything that should be on when you talk about emerging technology, that's why I use the analogy of a very simple technology tool of sorting seed. We have to start from that way instead of just thinking of, you know, groundbreaking research in AI and everything. What are the simplest tool we can use today? For example, on our platform is based on I don't want to sound technical so that everybody can get, let me describe it this way. If you log in on our platform, you can access all your coursework. When you access your coursework, you go to a place where there is no network. You will still have access to those resources for the next 30 days. The only thing you cannot do, you cannot take exams, you cannot take quizzes on that platform until you find a stable Wi-Fi. However, you are going to have access to all the resources, all the video, all the content, even without the internet. And it is called a intelligent cache. You use an intelligent cache system. What does that mean? It means that the cache system of a computer is like a temporary memory. So you increase that memory so that by the time the computer is disconnected from the internet, it still retains the information. That is a very simple, very easy, and anybody can achieve that. And you can also use USSD. And if you look at Kenya, when Kenya started the mobile money they were doing at that time, they used USSD before the advent of all of this advanced tech. So we have to build from the lowest denominator, not from the groundbreaking research. We are going to get there, but I see a lot of challenges. So we have to build considering a lot of factors, and that's what we do.
Yeah, the smart cache is a great solution. In the USSD, of course. So I would like to continue this conversation, but because of our time, we will reach out to you obviously at the institute level to see ways we can collaborate on deploying low tech solutions for education. Yeah. Low technologies for education. So thank you so much, Dr. Akanbi. Very great, wonderful presentation, very insightful. One thing I've learned from this presentation is that people often look at the problem, and sometimes when they're trying to solve the problem, they're trying to look for the next Google, the next ChatGPT, or the next big break. But sometimes technology can just be deployed locally and to solve solutions. So technology doesn't have to be something too complicated. So far, the solutions are there. So thank you so much for that wonderful insights. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope to collaborate with you in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have a contact that you would like our audience to reach you, please feel free to put that in the chat box.